Welcome to News Laundry Chota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. News Laundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a News Laundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. We bring you yet another episode of Hafta, and this time we're recording from office. It seems slowly but surely things are getting back to normal with us attending office regularly. I hope this continues and we don't see the much dreaded third wave. We're recording this on the 15th of July, which is a Thursday, and it is 3:10 in the afternoon. I'm Abhinandan Sekhri, and with me on the panel today in office are Manisha Pandey. Hi, Manisha.
Hello.
Mehraj Lone. Hi, Mehraj.
Hi.
And joining us, presumably from Bombay on the phone line, is Vivek Kaul. Bombay, Vivek?
Yes, Abhinandan. Hi.
Hi. So you're not in Mussoorie or Simla? You're not one of those hundreds and thousands that I saw?
I mean, let's not go there. I mean, I have extreme views on that, so...
Okay. Extreme views. Okay, I can't wait to go there.
Are you more the Goa sort?
Not really. I mean, you work where you work. Yeah. I mean...
Okay. So, I think Goa said.
He's against this whole work from home business where people go to Goa and do work from home for like 6 months.
So it's, I think it's for people who who like going to office, or rather who have been going to office all these years and suddenly find themselves at home. So to them, this is like, a get out of home card. But for me, I've been working from home for the last 10 years. So it doesn't really matter. Work is work. You do it wherever you got to do it. So.
Right. So those of you who are regular listeners of the Hafta and subscribers of News Laundry, or listen to a podcast, would probably know who Vivek is. Those of you who just coming in and may not have read Vivek, although he writes for many publications, he's worked at senior positions at Daily News and Analysis, which is DNA, and at the Economic Times. He's the author of 4 books, including the best-selling The Easy Money Trilogy. It's on the history of money and banking and how that caused the financial crisis that started in 2008 and is still on. India's Big Government, The Intrusive State and How It Is Hurting Us is his 4th book. It was published in January 2017. And Vivek is a regular columnist for Mint, BBC, Dainik Jagran, First Post, Bangalore Mirror, Deccan Herald and News Laundry. Manisha, what occupied news this week?
The Yogi Adityanath government has allowed Kanwar Yatra to take place from June 25th onwards. This is despite the neighbouring Uttarakhand government's decision to suspend the Yatra due to COVID concerns. The Supreme Court has sent a notice to the UP government asking them how is it that they can hold this Yatra. Vaccination has declined to 60% of what it was in the week after June 21st as states claim they have no doses.
This is the week where we had all those tweets congratulating the Prime Minister.
That was a yoga day peak that we all witnessed. The health minister has refuted reports of COVID-19 vaccine shortages. Koi shortage nahi hai. The Serum Institute is set to produce Russia's Sputnik 5 vaccine.
In fact, the health minister said that we have made the supply such so that you can keep up with vaccinating people. What he's saying that we are not supplying you any more than you can vaccinate. Tumhari galti hai.
The Uttar Pradesh government has put out a draft proposal of population control bill. In this bill, the state government seeks to bar anyone violating two-child policy from contesting local body polls, applying for or getting promotion in government jobs, and receiving benefits of welfare schemes. Meanwhile, according to the Times of India, of the 397 MLAs whose bios are currently available on the Assembly website, 304 are from the BJP. And of these MLAs, 154 have 3 or more children. So if the bill were to extend the provisions suggested for local bodies to state legislature, all these guys would be disqualified.
So, but it would be in retrospect.
No, it won't be in retrospect.
So that means going forward. And there are also
1 year from the date of passing the bill.
No, but in this case, it doesn't really matter whether it's in retrospect. I mean, people can't go back and not produce children.
That's what I'm saying. So if it's in retrospect, then that would disqualify a whole lot of people.
Yeah, obviously.
So then I was wondering if it was, then they wouldn't vote for it.
Yeah, from the time of...
Retrospect in the sense, I mean, whatever elections have happened. So for future elections. But I mean, this is one example where you can't use that.
Meanwhile, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad is unhappy with this bill. They've written to the Uttar Pradesh State Law Commission and said remove the one-child norm from the draft of its population control bill. Rakesh Sinha, BJP MP, has proposed to move a private member bill on population regulation in the upcoming monsoon session of Parliament. It's going to start on July 19th. Among other things, the bill seeks to disqualify an MP, MLA or anybody from the local self-government if he or she has more than 2 children. So UP election aane wale hain, basically, in short. So you want to hear all this.
Which is why.
The Bihar BJP president has advocated a one-child policy days after the Chief Minister Nitish Kumar stated that legislation will not be able to control population and education is the need of the hour.
In fact, I saw that bite of
makes
Nitish
sense.
Kumar, and it is being seen as him kind of trying to distance himself from
This
the
looniness.
BJP's dog whistles and lunacy.
A new bill to protect cattle was tabled in the Assam Legislative Assembly on Monday by Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. This bars sale and purchase of beef products in areas, quote unquote, predominantly inhabited by Hindu, Jain, Sikh and other non-beef eating communities, or within a radius of 5 km of any temple or satra, which is a Vaishnavite monastery. The Supreme Court has described the British-era sedition law as colonial and asked whether it was still necessary to have it 75 years after independence. The law is a serious threat to the functioning of institutions and holds enormous power for misuse, finally. But I don't know if anything
This
will
case
happen.
is being heard today, but as someone pointed out, that as long as UAPA exists, whether sedition is there or not doesn't matter, because you can
Yeah.
always arrest someone under UAPA.
Yeah. The Haryana police have invoked sedition charges against protesting farmers, claiming that they attacked the
There.
official police vehicle of Haryana Deputy Speaker Ranbir Gangwa in Sirsa on July 11th. Poll strategist Prashant Kishore held discussions with Congress leaders Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi. And apparently something big is upcoming. There's been a lot of speculation on this, from Rajdeep to like Rahul Kanwal to, pieces in NDTV and everywhere else.
That
Lot of
that Prashant
speculation.
Kishore may join Congress. Okay, we'll discuss the future of Congress
What
in some
he'll
detail.
do, some big.
Didn't he
big,
work
big-
with Congress before?
He worked
He
for the
had-
UP elections and for the Punjab elections.
So why is it such a big news?
No,
again?
he may join the party as a neta, not as a poll
And also
strategist.
after the UP election, their relations were kind of estranged. They weren't really in good terms. He never wanted to work with them again after UP. The NIA has challenged a plea to transfer the Elgar Parishad case from the Pune police to the agency. The plea was made by activist Surendra Gadling and Sudhir Dhavale, the accused in the case. 8 BJP members of the Legislative Assembly have quit after Mukul Roy was made chairman of the Public Accounts Committee.
This is in Bengal.
Right.
And meanwhile, Taliban fighters have executed 22 Afghan commandos as they try to surrender. Very dramatic footage of this was circulating online. India has pulled out 50 Indian diplomats and security officials posted in its consulate in Kandahar in view of the deteriorating security situation in Afghanistan and the Taliban gaining control of new areas around the southern Afghan city. Though I also read some reports that Taliban is exaggerating, that they just thrive on exaggerating and saying that
Not
they've
just that,
controlled everything.
yeah,
But
also what
you
they're
gotta
saying
like,
is that in Afghanistan, it doesn't matter how much area you control. It is which areas you
Which
control.
areas you
That is what is key in Afghanistan. And they don't yet control any of
key
the
areas.
key areas where the supplies and the
No, but
militaries are.
from what I've read is what they're doing right now is, if there's a district, so they basically occupy the other strategic points, but they're not going into the headquarters of the district so far. I suppose maybe waiting for the Americans to pull out entirely.
let's see.
And
George W. Bush attacks Biden over Afghanistan withdrawal. He said the consequences are going to be unbelievably bad. Racist abuse of footballers online will trigger a ban on attending matches, Boris Johnson has announced.
And there's
I
a
completely did not follow this controversy with England and Italy and racist. So please illuminate.
okay, we can discuss it in a little.
English players were hurled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Black English
basically
players.
because when
Brown and black.
when the penalty
basically.
took place, there were one young teenage boy. He's a new player in England, and of course the Manchester United striker Rashford and Sancho, the third. The
Sancho, Rashford, and Saka.
the three non-white players missed their penalty, and then
So the English crowd went at them.
and on social
Not-
media.
no one
and
on the
stuff.
team.
No one on the team, of course not. And now there's a petition going around that anyone who has been caught indulging in racist behavior should face a lifetime ban from matches, which I completely agree with. And I just want to discuss.
And that's, Boris Johnson is not one of the nicest
more-
of people, but even for him to
Even that
come
Preeti
up with something
Patel-
like this, it's great.
Preeti Patel, who's famous for her dog whistles in the past, has come out, these people are heroes, etc. But I would just like to talk about this in a little more detail when you talk about the dog whistle bills preceding the UP election that have come, whether it is a cattle bill or whether it's a population bill, which are completely have a religious color. But before that, just want to remind everybody listening Thank you for listening to our podcast. Do check out other podcasts, Awful and Awesome, Entertainment Wrap, Daily Dose, News Portly. And we have a new NL Sena project up. The Aravalis, which are in deep trouble. They are the main mountain range in the NCR region, also amongst the most ancient. They have faced an onslaught from politics, bureaucracy, industrialists for a long time. Who is responsible? Who have stepped forward to save it? Sometimes the judiciary has stepped up. What has been the history of the deterioration of Aravalis? And these can lead to a serious, climate crisis in this part of the country. I think about 65% of this project is already topped up. So I encourage you to top up the rest. And thank you for topping up the last one with Vivek. That piece is up as you listen to this.
So, so this is a longish piece with a lot of data that me and Chintan Patel have written together. And we essentially, started with the idea of using publicly available data and trying to figure out as to, what was the data basically saying. So we looked at the overall testing rates across states. We looked at positivity rates, and then we looked at the number of people who ultimately got the COVID disease. Obviously, these are official numbers, and then we also sort of to sound slightly technical, sliced and diced the data. So what we did was we divided the data into NDA states versus the non-NDA states. We also divided the data into the southern plus western part of the country, which is the slightly more developed part, and compared it with the northern plus eastern part, which is the slightly less developed part. And essentially, looking at all this, the conclusion at the heart of it is that the data shows very, very clearly that many states did not report numbers correctly. Now, why I say they did not report numbers correctly and not use the word fudge instead is primarily because that a lot of states simply do not have a good enough health system in place. So that could also be a possible reason for the right numbers not coming out. So this is not to say that they haven't fudged, but it's probably fudging plus the fact that the numbers wouldn't have come out anyway. Also, the interesting, few interesting finds that the data showed us was that, one good example is that of Nagpur, and how Nagpur, which is in the state of Maharashtra, but is right next to the Madhya Pradesh border. That for a very significant period of time, Nagpur had more cases than the entire state of Madhya Pradesh. Now, while this does not, it does not tell us anything in 100% sure sort of way, but it does tell us that data in a lot of states does not pass for it does not pass the basic smell test. And I mean, this also includes Gujarat, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. So a lot of data in these states does not pass the basic smell test. So like in Uttar Pradesh, once the peak positivity rate was the peak positivity was reached, the positivity rate just crashed. So that whereas in other states it sort of came down very, very gradually. So that also tells you a lot of things, where how the basically the state was managing the data that was coming out. I mean, even if you look at the data coming out of UP now, yesterday they had some 80 odd cases. I mean, all these things tell you that something is not right about the reporting system. So.
In fact, Mr. Modi today made a speech in Banaras. He's inaugurating
a parking lot.
Is it a parking lot? Is it a stadium or is it a convention center? I think it's
convention center and a parking lot.
Convention center parking lot.
3-storied parking lot.
So it's a 3-story parking lot that he's gone to Banaras to inaugurate, and he has in his speech said the UP's handling of second COVID wave is unparalleled, and he says Banaras is becoming a medical hub.
Okay.
So these are the things which, so it's not just the data.
But see, that is, that is something that he needs to say, right? As the prime minister of the country and as an MP of that city, he cannot say that the state government has mishandled the entire thing. So that That's a given. I mean, so take a very simple example that Delhi for a very long period of time had many more cases than Uttar Pradesh. Delhi has a population of 2 crore, Uttar Pradesh is 23 crore.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
And the borders are not like, and it's not like Delhi is an island, right? People can go back and forth. So, I mean, there are a lot of these things that, that tell us that many states haven't been reporting data properly. And you lose out because of that, because, a lot of decisions ultimately get made on the basis of data. So let's say, when oxygen is getting allocated. So if a state government doesn't report COVID cases, so then it gets lesser oxygen as a result.
But is that true for, most like data in India? I mean, I remember in Piketty's Capital, he has explained why he didn't take India as one of the case studies. He's taken, I think, France, US, UK, Japan, Germany.
Yeah.
And which six countries he's taken? I forget which one.
I think Sweden was the sixth country.
And he said, I haven't taken India because, I mean, the data is as good as batata.
See, Piketty was looking at income tax data, and from what I remember, and the Indian income tax data that is put out is very, very elementary, and it takes its
it doesn't give you a fraction of the idea of who's earning what in India.
It's very elementary, and it's also not, they don't put it up on time. So that is the biggest thing, I mean, we are in 2021-22, and I don't think the last data I checked, the data for only assessment year, up to assessment year 18-19 was available, which is financial year 17-18. So we are already 3 years behind.
I am just reading this one headline from 2018. Hindus should have at least 5 children, else will become minority, says BJP MLA Surinder Singh from UP. And the RSS chief, no less, produce more children. RSS tells Hindu couples. The Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, and this is from, again, 2016 and 2018. At a convention for newly married couples, RSS worker Darpan said that to keep our culture and civilization alive, we must seriously and responsibly think about our fertility rates. He quoted RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's plea to mull over this issue for sake of society, our culture and our civilization. So he basically said even Mohan Bhagwat ji thinks. So in 4-5 years, a lot has changed, Manisha. And what does this bill exactly, can you tell our audience, what does it say?
First up, of course, there are certain penalties that will be levied on you if you have more than 2 children. This includes being barred from availing government-sponsored welfare schemes, limit on ration cards, you will not be able to contest local body polls, you will not be able to apply for government jobs, you won't get promotions in government jobs, so on and so forth. But the one thing that I have found quite appalling in this is when this was being discussed, everyone was talking about benefits, that basically how if you have 2 children, you're going to be availing of a lot of benefits, especially for civil servants and stuff like that. But the fine print of the bill says that the benefits will be given to either member from a married couple who undergo voluntary sterilization. So even if I have 2 kids and I don't undergo sterilization, I will not get any benefits. So in effect, the law is trying to promote sterilization rather than just family planning. So it's not enough for the couple to just decide among themselves, okay, we're just having 2 kids. You have to undergo a medical procedure to have
अगर सरकार बदल जाए और बिल चला जाए, हमारा जो चेंज है वो परमानेंट रहे.
And so similarly, this is for public servants, and you get more benefits if you undergo a sterilization right after having 1 child. And the most complicated, and I'm just going to read a little part out of it. I just couldn't understand what this draft meant, and apparently the draft is out there now for us to send our suggestions to. That's the main reason why this is being discussed. So now there are provisions in the bill that talk about what happens in the event of a death of a child. So the bill says A and his wife B had 2 children born out of a marriage. If the first child dies and A and B subsequently have a 3rd child born out of the marriage, the actions of A and B are not in contravention. Okay. Now, if A and his wife B had 2 children born out of the marriage, both the children died, A and B subsequently have 3rd and 4th child born out of different pregnancies, the actions are in contravention of the 2-child norm.
But how?
Because in effect, they're looking at how many times you get pregnant. So I think you can't get...
No, but if if 1 child dies, then it's not in contravention, because that's a 3rd pregnancy.
But if both the children die and I want to have 2 more children, it's in contravention. So, because I've had 3 pregnancies.
Can I intervene?
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you can understand.
I find it funny that someone has thought through these things.
And it goes on and on that, A and his wife B had one child born out of one marriage. The first child dies. A and B subsequently have second and third child born out of subsequent pregnancies. The actions of A and B are in contravention to the two-child norm under this act. So I just don't...
So if you are basically in one marriage, you have children, then you marry somebody else, and is that what it means?
No. It simply means basically you can't be pregnant more than twice.
Thrice,
all.
no? Because if
More
one
than-
dies, you can have a third child.
Only in the case of...
It's very difficult, but I think there'll be a... But
I mean,
so
yeah,
this
even
is
I
one
give up.
bill. The second bill is in Assam, and that talks about that you cannot sell beef or
Yeah.
you can't even consume
You
it.
can't consume it either.
So if I'm sitting in my own house consuming it in an
if
area,
you're in an area which is predominantly Hindu, you can't.
so it
and who
talks
will
about
decide predominantly Hindu? In India, every
so it says
locality is bloody.
Hindu, Christian, and Jain areas you cannot sell. Now, what is a Hindu area? I am not quite sure what that means. This also bill has to pass through judicial scrutiny. It has not been passed in the Assam
No, it's just
assembly yet, right?
It's just been tabled.
So these are the two bills that are making much noise. And I would just like to kind of throw in the British racism angle here purely because even there, when things go so bad, even a person like Boris Johnson and Preeti Patel have to come and say that this is disgusting, this will not be tolerated. Here, the vilest of things happen, and very often we find that that person is followed by some major BJP leader. Sometimes the vilest trolls are followed by Prime Minister Modi. Enough articles have been written on this. Now, Mehraj, what do you make of this? So, as per this new bill, your understanding in Assam, if you're sitting in your house having beef, your house is not your area.
Apparently not.
I see. Okay. And they have decided that Hindus don't eat beef. Mr. Sarma has decided that.
Because
Well, I mean, I guess in
their-
Assam they don't. I'm not sure if in Arunachal, Manipur, yes. I'm not really sure of Assam. What is the consumption level? But the funny thing is, actually, when this was being discussed on news, at least people only talked about the worship place. That you can't be selling within 5 kilometers radius of a temple, which I thought was very odd to bring in because I think naturally you'll find in cities that there are divisions like this historically. If there's a temple, you will not find, I mean, I have never seen a beef shop around a temple. I mean, that's just, I guess communities have through time understood that, okay. And this is for different, like temples, mosques, churches, whatever. No one discussed this aspect that it's basically saying a Hindu area or a Sikh area, you can't be eating beef.
and
And
it's
then
conveniently vague, predominantly
What is
Hindu
it
area. What
exactly?
does that mean?
100 square meter
Then
make an area? Does 1
basically,
square kilometer make an area? Is my house my area? Is like...
the basically
No,
this
I
is
mean,
just to
you know-
embolden akhlaq type incidents, yeah, where you can just
Yeah, go ahead, Vivek.
So this is not, I mean, they are not vague by, this is vague by design. It's not.
Yeah, because I mean, these aren't supposed to be laws in that sense. I mean, this idea that the whole idea behind this population control, the rhetoric of the Sangh Parivar has always been that Muslims, like you said, Muslims are breeding too much. But I mean, the data shows that fertility rates across India are coming down, across religions.
And UP, though, they are definitely
Also-
are.
Even in UP, and like if you're talking about this the two-child policy, let's say if it was like motivated by the noblest of intentions, for example, not like bigotry. India, among I think South Asian nations except Pakistan and Afghanistan, has the highest infant mortality rate, about 40. So that means, I mean, many people will lose their children.
Right.
So they're not supposed to have children.
Hmm.
And in a country where you have right now, I mean, leave the elite slavery out of it, you have this, I mean, it's a social problem, but it's a problem nonetheless. It's a reality is that people want male children rather than girl children. People usually, I mean, one of the reasons that people have more children is because they have
They want a
daughters and
male
then they
child.
want a child. What are they supposed to do? And though that has consequences, we might not like it, but having like just girls and not some, that has consequences, economic, social, political
it
consequences.
will also incentivize abortions, no? And sex.
Female
like,
feticide,
will be more,
yes,
yeah.
and
That
India
it
is
will
one of
hide
the-
it then.
Yeah.
Not only will it incentivize illegal abortions.
Yeah,
but,
exactly, for female.
just
for
want to
girl
correct, I said Hindu, Jain and Christian areas. It should be Hindu, Jain and Sikh
Sikh
areas because
areas.
Christian are beef eating. although
Christian लोग खा सकते हैं.
Also, in India, 83% of the couples who have more than 2 kids are Hindu families.
Right.
So it Hindu. Of course, I mean, we are majority Hindu nation.
Yeah, so, I mean, it may
obviously Hindus are having more kids.
it may
than
actually
Muslims.
impact Surinder Singh, BJP MLA, and
Yeah,
Mohan
it'll
Bhagwat's
impact-
constituency more. But it doesn't matter what the impact is. It is the political impact, the noise around it. You see,
Precisely.
that is the purpose.
Same was the case, for example, the triple talaq law, right? Basically, that law is against wife abandonment. That happens mostly among Hindus if you see at the data. Look at the data.
In fact, there's a
There
documentary
I
in
don't
Punjab.
agree, but there I don't agree because triple talaq is a very clear. It's a very saying
Specific.
talaq to someone has to go.
But that's abandonment, right? Because
Abandonment
you're not paying.
can happen anywhere, but it's not justified legally.
No,
like
that's-
I can approach the courts if my husband says talaq. No,
You could do
So you
that
should do
in this
that.
case also earlier.
no.
So they
that
brought
is what
that.
Supreme Court changed.
No, that's the thing. I remember
No, they
discussing it at
criminalized
that
it
time.
also further, which is contentious. But
Exactly.
to ban it, to say that you cannot get a divorce by saying talaq is something that I
That
think is
already
progressive.
existed.
And
That
Muslim women fought
that
for
was
it.
already the case. What they did is basically they wanted to put Muslim men in jail. That was
So
the
that
whole
is the
point
criminalization
of
of
this.
it. Where they said ki we will
No, I
criminalize
think
it.
is
what
what the law was
Mehraj is
bought
saying is
for.
that legally you could still challenge that talaq.
You
talaq
could.
law.
That is that was always the case.
He says legally
No,
you
but
could.
Muslim,
you could ask for-
you could challenge, but the
you're saying
legal
that the-
battle that the Muslim women put forward was that we want it scrapped.
Okay, fine.
You know, that we don't want this
But now
law
coming
to
back
be,
to this bill,
I mean, we want this to be scrapped, as in it just becomes legally untenable, and then BJP on top of that criminalized it,
But
which
that
is
wasn't
contentious.
a law to scrap in the first place.
Personal law,
Exactly.
so that should go. I think.
no, but the this bill, when we said that, is it even, will it stand the scrutiny of court? I think someone had given the example of either Rajasthan or which state already had
Orissa.
this, and it was upheld. That law exists in Orissa right now.
So I'll just read out this thing. In Rajasthan, according to the Rajasthan Panchayati Raj Act 1994, over 2 children make people ineligible to contest panchayat elections. So this was prior to 2018, but this policy was scrapped.
Okay.
Then in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, they have had a 2-child norm since 2001 for government jobs and local body elections, but these states also continued the policy 3-4 years later. In Gujarat, the 2005 amendment to Gujarat Local Authorities Act barred those with more than 2 children from contesting the local body elections. Maharashtra, Odisha, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh also preclude people with over 2 children from contesting Zilla Parishad elections and under their own laws. Maharashtra also upholds the policy as an eligibility criteria for government employees under the Maharashtra Civil Services Rule of 2005. Uttarakhand government in 2019, that's 2 years ago, amended the Uttarakhand Panchayati Raj Act and made candidates with more than 2 children ineligible to contest the elections.
Okay, we'll now move on to the next subject. But before I do that, I just want to remind everybody that we have a Discord server. Only if you're a News Laundry subscriber do you get access to the News Laundry Discord server. Server has, various channels. You can discuss Hafta, Awful and Awesome, politics, pop culture, art. Thousands of subscribers. You can find like-minded people you can discuss stuff with. You can ask us questions. The News Laundry team interacts on the Discord server now and then, although it's less than, and no, it's more than and less now. But it is something that I'm still getting used to. But yeah, we are getting people to interact on the Discord server, so you will get that. And we have many NL recesses coming up. Thank you for attending the ones that we had. We had one Kabir Bedi, Varun Grover,
Ghazala Wahab.
Ghazala Wahab, correct. We had, before that, we had with Ulzar also. So we have a whole new roster of NL recesses coming up. These are interactions that you have to be a subscriber to take part in. You will get a Zoom link and you can be a part of that Zoom, pour yourself a drink, face to face, keep your camera on and have a chat with the people who we bring you.
See, I don't know, yeah. I mean, it'll be. I don't know. Does Congress have an IT cell?
They
Bit
do.
pales in comparison of everyone else, but they do.
No, because I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Because the first thing the Congress needs is a good IT cell. It has to start from there. See, propaganda. How you can't tackle propaganda with the truth. Okay, you have to tackle propaganda with better propaganda, and for that you need an IT cell which generates content, Then you need people who sort of ensure that that content goes viral. So basically, you need a lot of WhatsApp groups. You need people, administrators who run those WhatsApp groups. So
and you need volunteers who want to do this for you.
I mean, volunteer तो कोई नहीं होता है. But yeah, I mean, you can call them whatever, but ultimately, you need an entire infrastructure to get that going. So it has to start right from there.
Now, I mean, I think Manisha, we were just discussing before we started recording, she says it can't be revived as a brand.
I said Rahul Gandhi can't be revived as a brand. Congress can, not Rahul Gandhi.
Oh, okay. That I missed that nuance.
No. I just meant Rahul Gandhi. He cannot be revived.
But what about Nehru? But in a completely different context. You see, I'm not saying what about Nehru. So, no, I definitely think that there is just the presence, like it's like trying to revive. There's so many brands that have been revived, yeah, which were just so widespread that even though they fucked up big time.
Like Maggie. Once they got in a really bad masala and then everyone started hating them. And then they got the magic masala back. But they had to bring the masala back, which people liked earlier. So you have to get the masala.
Which in Congress case is what?
I don't know, Sonia's time, Manmohan. I mean, I guess faces, tall leaders who stood up for something, meant something, expertise.
No, I mean, I really think one has to see what is the weather. Accordingly, you decide what you wear.
Huh?
In the sense that at the time when Arvind Kejriwal came up with this whole India against corruption movement and all that shit, this Kalmadi, the coal block allocation, that was the soil was fit to bow that beej. He could not come up at that time and say Hindu, Hindu. I don't think anyone gave a shit at that time. So I think what is the current zeitgeist kehte na, that will determine what your strategy should be.
Masala
which is why today you have to think like everything is all compressed together. Economic cycles have become compressed together. Although we are due for another big crash. They had said every 10 years it happens.
Then I think what better time than...
So everything has become compressed. So now what is the predominant narrative right now? One has to come up with a strategy, a solution to that problem. Now we have to figure out what is the problem right now. Because we are in Achhe Din, so there is no problem.
In Congress case, the first problem is, and this is a problem with, it'll happen with Arvind Kejriwal and other parties also. Once they are out of power, this will be the problem, is what do they stand for? Why would you vote for Congress?
Because the easiest thing is...
But Congress still is one of the centrist secular parties. No, I think it stands for way more than Aam Aadmi Party in that sense.
No, to an ordinary person, why would you vote for Congress?
You have to see
if you vote for BJP, you have something. If you vote for even SP or BSP or even Kejriwal in Delhi, for example, you are voting for something. You have an idea of what you are voting for.
Party
Congress,
that got
you may
rights.
only vote because you have always voted
but
Congress.
But there is no specific anything right now. They don't stand for anything.
So they were like, I guess from post-independence party which stood for...
I agree. There's nothing, you don't know what they are right now. There is no predominant, this is a character, this is a personality.
But what were they? I think there's still a space for that centrist party in Indian politics. Secularist centrist
is not a message you can have. Like you can say Garibi Hatao, that we are हमने आजादी लाके दी, we are Bapu's party.
Achha, that way you want to give a new slogan to them.
Not a slogan, but centrist is not an ideology. Right? It can't say we're a centrist party.
One way out of this is, this could have been a problem for BJP also if they didn't have a person like Modi, like this charismatic person lording over them. One way out of this is to have local leaders like Amarinder Singh or somebody else
Mamta
who has that local appeal, Mamta kind of a person in a state. So then you have this combination of states which brings you to center. That is, if you remember in 2004, that's precisely what happened. They stitched up these alliances with people. They had YSR in Andhra Pradesh. They had... No, Mamta wasn't... she was an ally, not this thing.
Yeah, she was... Okay, you mean from within the party?
From within the party, they had YSR kind of people, they had Amarinder kind of people, and outside they had allies like Mamta and everybody. And that whole, that sum of those paths became the government at the center.
Right.
That is why you could have a person,
like Manmohan Singh.
As good as he was maybe as an administrator economist, but he didn't have that charisma of Modi, right?
He didn't have.
But you still could run that because you had that sum of paths.
Yeah. Now basically it's collapsed even at that level. That's the thing.
Like you were talking about Punjab, for example.
But if you look at 2014 ka Congress, corruption was a huge dent on them. But there was a certain stability in terms of Modi was given a stable economy. He made a hash of it after 2014. So there was that. Then it was a party of rights, did give right to education, did give NREGA. So a certain kind of stability in life. Which today there's huge uncertainty, unemployment, the handling of COVID.
Yeah,
There's a lot of-
There is, but you're right that there just isn't. See, it's not like in 15 minutes we'll come up with an exact narrative. But I think what they need to start off by doing is get full-time politicians. Yeah, Congress doesn't have full-time politicians. All the big names of Congress are people who, when in power, they will move into Lutyens' bungalow and wield power and become ministers. And when out of power, they will go back to the legal practice and move into their bungalow in Vasant Vihar or Maharani
or
Bagh or
they'll
Friends
join
Colony.
BJP and get cabinet berths.
So they don't have people who say, okay, if we're not in power now, the next 5 years we will slog it out.
Yeah.
They don't have any sloggers like Chidambaram, Sibbal. I mean, all the Baba
The
log
hunger to be
politicians.
in power.
Deora, what is Deora doing? Yeah, he just now and then tweets, he talks shit. He's such a nonsensical person. Jitin Prasad, who's just joined them. I mean, even Sachin Pilot, he's the only one who worked his ass off when he wasn't in power in Rajasthan.
Yeah.
Otherwise, none of the Congress guys, when they're not in power, then they're not working. Then they're going in Ibiza. Look at Kamal Nath here. All of you listening in, the Chota Hafta, do subscribe so you can listen to the entire Hafta. We will see you again next week with the Hafta. Till then, subscribe, pay to keep news free, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Thank you. Goodbye.
All the News Laundry podcasts are available on Stitcher, iTunes, and any other podcast platform.
Please subscribe to News Laundry. Help us keep news independent. To catch all our podcasts on news, pop culture, current affairs, and sport, visit newslaundry.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sun liya Afrika, mufat khoro. Not to brag or anything, but News Laundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free. All News Laundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.